They came home from war. They wanted freedom. What they built was a brotherhood and a rebellion. This is the story of how Australia's outlaw motorcycle gangs roared to life. Welcome to the OMG, the Outlaw Motorcycle Gangs of Australia. Leather jackets, chrome engines, brotherhood or brutality. Australia's outlaw motorcycle gangs didn't just ride into town, they rewrote the rules. Let's rewind to where it all began. It's the late 1940s. World War II is over. Thousands of Aussie soldiers return home, restless, disillusioned and craving adrenaline.
For those who did return, it would be hard to settle down to civilian life again, to take up where they left off.
They don't want to settle into suburbia. They want the open road. Motorcycles become their escape, their identity, their tribe. And from that tribe, a new subculture is born. One of the earliest known clubs, founded in 1911, the Motorcycle Club of SA, was established as a breakaway from the earlier Automobile and Motorcycling Club of SA, which had formed in 1903. While detailed records of their insignia are scarce, early clubs like this typically use straightforward designs, often featuring wheels, wings, or the club's initials, embroidered or painted onto jackets and banners. While the exact name of the individual founder isn't clearly documented in public records, the club's creation was likely a collective effort by passionate motorcyclists who sought independence from the automobile focus group that they had originally joined. The club quickly became the central body for motorcycle sport in South Australia, organising races and events and eventually evolving into what is now Motorcycling South Australia, MSA. There was also the AutoCycle Council of Australia in 1928. While not a club in the traditional sense, this national body was established to represent the growing number of motorcycle clubs and state associations. It eventually evolved into Motorcycling Australia, the governing body for motorcycle sport in the country. By the 1950s, motorcycle clubs started popping up across Australia. Some are just social groups, but others, they're different. They adopt names like the Gladiators and Satan's Riders. They wear patches, ride in packs, and they don't care what society thinks of them. These are the first outlaw motorcycle clubs, Australia's answer to the American biker rebellion. The Satan's Riders likely formed in the 1950s, a time when the motorcycle clubs were shifting from social riding groups to more rebellious, countercultural brotherhoods. Their name and imagery suggests a deliberate embrace of the anti-establishment symbolism, echoing the influence of American biker films like The Wild One in 1953. The Gladiators Motorcycle Club, founded in Maitland, New South Wales in 1960. This club is considered Australia's oldest outlaw motorcycle club. It marked the beginnings of a new era of motorcycle culture, one rooted in tribal identity and rebellion. Formed by local riders seeking camaraderie, independence and a shared passion for motorcycling. Their name and imagery drew from Roman gladiators, symbols of strength, loyalty and defiance. The club's patch features a skull wearing a gold and red gladiator helmet. Originally based in Maitland, they expanded to other New South Wales towns like Grafton and Gunnedah. The Grafton Clubhouse became known for hosting events like the Jacker Bash, which included exhibition boxing matches. Members like Colin Caesar Campbell, who later became a key figure in the Commoneros and Bandidos, highlight the club's influence on Australia's broader outlaw biker scene. These early clubs laid the groundwork for everything from competitive racing to the rise of social and outlaw motorcycle groups. They were part of the early movement for what would become the 1% biker's identity in Australia, those who proudly operated outside the norms of society. While not as prominent today, their legacy helped shape the visual and ideological DNA of later clubs like the Rebels, Bandidos and Commoneros. Which brings us to the Rebels Motorcycle Club. Clint Jacks is widely credited as the founding figure behind what would become one of Australia's most prominent outlaw motorcycle clubs. In 1969, he had a group of like-minded bikers in Brisbane formed a club initially called the Confederates. This group was born out of a shared passion for Harley-Davidson motorcycles and a desire for a tight-knit brotherhood that stood apart from mainstream society. Under Jack's leadership, the Rebels grew into the largest outlaw motorcycle club in Australia, and eventually one of the largest big twin Harley-Davidson clubs in the world. The original patch prominently featured the Confederate battle flag. A skull wearing a military-style cap was central to the design. This symbolised fearlessness, a brush with death, and a brotherhood forged in danger, echoing the wartime experiences many early members shared. While controversial, it was chosen to represent defiance, independence, and a rejection of mainstream norms, core values of outlaw bikers' culture at the time. Then comes that label, the 1%ers. The American Motorcycle Association once claimed that 99% of bikers are law-abiding. These guys, they proudly claim to be the other 1%. The outlaw image becomes a badge of honour. They're not just riding, they're rejecting the rules, and they're building a culture around it. The 1% patch became associated with the club as it embraced its outlaw identity. These insignias weren't just decoration, they were declarations. They marked territory, loyalty, and a shared code. Leather jackets, tattoos, bonfires, and beer. The outlaw lifestyle is loud, proud, and unapologetic. But beneath the brotherhood, tension is building. A storm is on its way. This brings us to the Commoneros and Jock Ross, which is probably why you're all here. The Commonero Motorcycle Club was founded in 1966 in Sydney, Australia by William George Jock Ross, a Scottish immigrant and former soldier. Inspired by American outlaw motorcycle culture and the 1961 John Wayne film The Commoneros, Ross envisioned a club built on strict discipline, loyalty, and militaristic structure. He gave himself the title of Supreme Commander. Members were expected to participate in drills and follow a rigid hierarchy, which set the Commoneros apart from more casual riding clubs of the time. The Commoneros Club quickly gained a reputation for toughness and violence. This military-style approach may have been understood and respected by the early Commonero members, made up of like-minded ex-soldiers, some who had returned from Vietnam, shunned by society and wanted to rebel. But as time went on, many new recruits did not want such a rigid club. They may have come from other clubs that were more loose and laid back, but stayed due to the loyalty, the brotherhood, and a life of cash and crime. Things, however, really took a turn when it is believed that Ross actually broke one of his own rules in late 1983. Ross was allegedly caught in a compromising situation with another member's wife. This violated one of the club's core rules, as you can imagine. Well, Sergeant-at-Arms Colin Caesar Campbell demanded Ross face internal charges. Ross refused. He skipped disciplinary meetings and instead unilaterally split the club into 2 chapters. It was his club after all, right? Well, as you can imagine, it was really going to hit the fan. Ross moved his Commonero group to Harris Park. The other Commonero group remained at Birch Grove in the city. Once mates, Anthony Snotty Spencer lost faith in Ross and led the Birch Grove chapter. The identity of the woman at the centre of the alleged affair involving Jock Ross has never been publicly confirmed in credible sources. What is widely reported is that the incident, whether rumour or reality, sparked deep internal conflict within the Commoneros. If true, Ross was a hypocrite. If false, it was a military coup. Either way, a betrayal was committed. The Commoneros were broken. This wasn't just a club dispute. It was a collapse of brotherhood, where loyalty fractured under the weight of ego, disrespect, and ambition. This was just the beginning. Next time, betrayals, bullets, and the Father's Day massacre that shocked the nation. Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for episode 2, Father's Day Bloodshed, where the brotherhood turned brutal.